Hello there, everyone, and we are live. Hello, 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 and welcome. Welcome to today's webinar. Blah. We're live. There's no recording. I realize we're live. So today's webinar is about how to start a conversation with anyone. How to start a conversation with anyone. Now, I'm sure many times, like me, you have sat somewhere or gone somewhere and you think, wow, I'd really like to speak to that person, but I'm not sure what I'm going to say. And you start to think about different sentences in your head, different ways you can approach them, and then you get a little bit nervous. You think, oh, is this the right word? Or maybe I should use this tense, and you just get too much stuck in your head. And I realized that through a lot of trial and error and creating a system, you don't need to be afraid like that. You don't need to overthink it, because there are certain tools and tricks that you can prepare so that when this happens, you already know 3 different ways that you can say hello to a person, or 3 different ways you can just start a conversation. And so today's topic is about starting a conversation with anyone. And this is a guide on how to talk to someone in everyday life. Like I mentioned, maybe you're sitting next to them on the bus, or you're at the cafe, or at a restaurant, or maybe you just walk past someone in the street. And a lot of the time, of course, you always have to be respectful and think, is this person available to talk to right now? Because if they're in the middle of shopping in the supermarket and they're deciding something, or looking after the kids, you really have to think, is now the best time to ask them where their favorite restaurant is? Okay. At work, I know that it can be really difficult. Sometimes you're at the coffee machine or waiting for a meeting, and kind of just sat around the table, not sure what to say. Already talked about the weather, already talked about the weekend, already talked about the transport. In England, they love to talk about the transport. And you kind of really don't know what else to say. Or maybe you're at school and at the playground, or waiting for an exam. And then there's also the world of online communication as well. So we're not going to go too much into depth today about reaching out to people online, but the ideas that we will look at will also be useful whether you're speaking to someone face to face or just sending a text message. And actually, if we wait until the end, there's a special bit about the golden rule where the online tools will come in really useful. So at the end of this webinar, you will know how to understand conversation flow, start a conversation, remember names, enter a conversation, end a conversation, and right at the end, we'll look at that golden rule. So what exactly is conversation flow? Before that, just like to welcome everyone who just come in. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Darren, and I have been an English teacher for the past 12 years. And right now I'm looking at exploring on making recorded lessons like this. I want to reach out to people all over the world, provide them with high quality, affordable English lessons that will help you on your journey, whatever that may be. If you're setting up a business, hoping to get more clients, if you're applying to a university, if you are applying for a new job, or if you just want to understand the language a bit more and make new friends, I'm happy to be one of your new friends, and learn how to communicate a bit better in English. So let's start with this top tip that I got from Dr. Jordan Peterson. And when it comes to communication, he says there are 3 things that can really help for us to be better communicators. Read more. Now, this is great. I know a lot of people who are here today are kind of B1, B2 level. And even at a beginner level, reading is so important to build vocabulary. With more words, we can communicate more complex ideas. And another tip from Jordan Peterson, he says that when you talk about something, you should really know about 10 times more about that subject than what you're actually saying. And this will enable you to improvise a little bit. Okay, so right now I'm not relying 100% on these slides and just reading them word for word. Sometimes I'll read them, provide some great structure to this presentation, and it'll sound more professional. But if I'm spending all the time just reading what's on the slides, it's not going to be as engaging, it's not going to be as fun. So read. And another tip within reading is to read some content, read some books, articles, things which are your level. I speak a few languages. English is my native language, my mother tongue. After that, in ability, I would say French is probably pretty good. This is about a B1, B2 level. Then my Russian, and then Portuguese. So really important to read some appropriate level text so that it's not too difficult or crazy and you just lose interest. Okay, we want it to be engaging. If you find you have to keep translating the words and your vocabulary list is just getting longer and longer, put the book down, come back to it in a few months and find a bit of an easier book or text to read. Practice. This is obviously key in communication. So before I had the opportunity to be here today in your webinar, I went through this presentation a few times, and you have great orators, great speakers of the past like Winston Churchill. This is the thing about going live, there's no edits. So Winston Churchill, who was really famous at being a great public speaker, but actually he was not the best until he practiced. He would spend hours and hours and hours practicing, probably so he doesn't make mistakes like this of confusing William and Winston. And he would really practice his speech, and then when he delivered it, it would be perfect. He practiced his jokes, practiced his timing. Okay, we all have access to a mirror. We can look at our reflection and observe how we are doing. Nowadays with smartphones, there's some really good tips that you can do with this, where you can record yourself on the camera. I'll add this in the notes at the end, but this is a great homework exercise for everyone, is you record yourself talking on the phone for about 3 to 5 minutes. Then you do a 3-part review exercise. Okay, so the first part is you're going to play back the video, but not look at it. Okay, so you're just going to listen to yourself. And with this, you can do an auditory audit. You are going to just listen to the tone, how it sounds. And the next audit is to do a visual audit, which means you're going to put the video on mute and just watch yourself. Okay? Watch your facial expressions, watch your movements. And then finally, you're going to do a transcription audit, where you can use maybe Google Translate, or there's apps like Otter, which do a great job at taking an audio file and giving you all the words. You're then going to have a look at all the words that you said, including the ums, ers, ahs, all these filler words. Take a pen, go through them, and just identify the problems in the speech where these are words that you don't want to have. Okay? And then do it again. Have another go at the same video, but now with a new level of awareness. Now you're aware how your facial expressions are. Are you interesting and vibrant and moving when you're talking? Are you smiling or not smiling? How's the tone? Is it changing? How's the speed? Okay. I can see some comments now about people asking for some notes on this. Yep, I will put it together and send it to those who are in attendance. And also, if you want it, just send me an email and I'll put it up on the website. So the last one, to write. Now, there's a great resource on this called Morning Pages, and this is based on the idea that the first thing we can do in the morning is just to sit down and write down what is going on in your head. Jordan Peterson, again, he talks about writing as the highest form of thinking. I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson. Actually saw him last month, a couple of months ago, when he came to Lisbon here in Portugal, and really interesting guy, got a lot of great books. Yeah, I like it. So writing, this is something I try to do each day, a little journal, write down. I usually start with morning gratitude, 3 things I'm grateful for. Then I will maybe have a quote for the day, then top 3 priorities, and then plan the day. So writing your thoughts, it's a good way to improve your communication skills. And you only need about 15 minutes a day for this. All right, let's start off with conversation flow. So what is conversation flow? Well, let's imagine that the first person, could be you, could be the other person, but you ask a question. So what happens next? What's the time? Okay, you go up to someone and say, excuse me, what's the time? Excuse me, do you have the time? Excuse me, what time is it? Okay, now that person will probably come back with an answer along the lines of what the time is. For example, it's 2:30, it's 2:30. Maybe they don't know the time. They'll say, sorry, I don't know the time. And then we kind of enter this game, right? And a good way to think about this is a bit like a game of ping pong. So you've just hit the ball over the table and asked a question. They've now answered the question. Now you've got the ball. So you can make a comment or ask a follow-up question. Now the ball's in their court. Then they can make a comment or ask a question back. And so you enter this loop. Okay. Now, I would say the hardest thing to do is to start this. Okay. This is why we're here today, how to start a conversation. But in order to know how to start a conversation, we need to know the mechanics of the conversation. And this is a very simple way of looking at it, right? It's a ball. I've got the ball. I have a question. Now I throw the ball to you and you can answer. Once you've answered, send it back to me. Okay? What can I do now? I just hold the ball and finish, or I want to keep talking. I send the ball back. We keep playing. So let's look at how to start off the conversation. Okay? You should also have the conversational skills notes PDF where you can see the notes on this chapter. All right, we're starting a conversation. It is a great idea to begin with your name. Now, I've had some great conversations where we don't even ask each other's name until about 10 minutes into the conversation. You know, it's good practice to start with your name. Introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Darren. Okay? And then we can pause. We can then add a question afterwards. What's your name? Or maybe we give a compliment. That's a beautiful jacket you have. Or we can just make an observation. Hi, I'm Darren. It's a beautiful day today. Offer a genuine compliment. This is one of my favorite ways to start a conversation. Again, you mentioned about, oh, you have a beautiful jacket, or maybe just a little detail. Again, these comments do not have to be invasive or flirtatious, and I would say, always approach starting a conversation with a little bit of care, be respectful of the other person. If they look busy or upset or angry, and maybe now is not the time to engage in a conversation, then just something to be careful of. Okay, I see a few people in the chat saying, what kind of compliments? So what kind of compliments? Well, I mean, yeah, we could start with, the physical compliments. Maybe you like someone's hair, someone's smile, someone's earrings, someone's necklace, someone's t-shirt. It could be the bag that they have. Okay, these are all just physical observations. And again, be very, very careful and respectful when you're giving someone a compliment. Okay. It could be work related, like, hi, I'm Darren. I saw your presentation last week and I thought it was really great, especially how you ... Okay. Another compliment. Another compliment. I mean, in general, yeah, do you want to be safe and respectful? You don't want to appear a bit strange or creepy, and just stick to safe topics, really. If you're at someone's house, easy to compliment their house. Oh, I love the way that you designed the place. Oh, I love this picture. Oh, where was this picture taken? It's beautiful altogether. Where people are in their life, how you see them, they have constructed this. They have been very careful about how they've done their hair, how they've done their makeup, what kind of clothes they're wearing, okay? What kind of shoes they're wearing. You can be attentive to all these things, and generally people like it when you give them a compliment. Okay, ask something about the person. For example, relationship to the host of the event or the organization. Yeah, so common way to start a conversation. If you're at an event, it's like, hi, I'm Darren. So, how do you know Mark? Yeah. Or have you known Mark a long time? Or where did you meet Mark? Okay, if Mark is hosting the event. So, always good if you don't know the person that you're speaking with to find that mutual connection. Okay, in this case, it's Mark. Mark has invited us all to his house for a party, and I talk to someone I don't know. Hi, I'm Darren. So, how long do you know Mark for? Right. Find out about the person's hometown or workplace. Yeah, so this is usually quite common in conversations that people will introduce themselves and then ask you where you're from, right? Personally, I like to ask, where are you going? It doesn't really matter so much to me, the city, the country, the place you grow up. For me, I'm really interested about where you're going. Here we are in space and time in this moment together, and this moment will soon be gone. Maybe tomorrow you are going to India or to Australia or to London or to Bali. Okay, and it's really interesting to know about where someone is going. It's very common in England. Ask about where you're from. Like, oh, from England too. Great. Oh, whereabouts in England? Yeah, and you can talk about your the place that you are from. Maybe there's some overlap, and it's like, oh yes, you're also from Gatwick. Oh, great, yeah. You went to school in Reigate. Oh, okay, yes, me too, actually. But I think these are really not the most exciting conversations, to focus on these details. I think it's really interesting to know what a person's dreams are, where they're going in life. Another one, ask something you would like the other person to know about you. Okay, so this is a different way of having a conversation. So again, start with your name. Hi, I'm Darren. Do you know I'm an English teacher? Okay, it's a funny way to start a conversation. I'm from England. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this one, I think, to ask something you would like the person to know, like, so I made this food. Great. Yeah. What else on this one? I think this is a strange one. I think there's so many other better ways to start a conversation that I would not go for that one. Bit of a last resort. Or again, it depends on what you want to come across by, right? So we all just have like maybe 5 or 10 seconds to make a first impression. Are you going to be someone who gives a compliment, someone who has a good eye for detail? It's like, oh, I saw you came in with a beautiful poodle earlier. Is that your puppy, right? Or, you have beautiful shoes on. I love the turquoise stone in there. Yeah. So these are my preferred ways to have a conversation. Compliments. Okay, remembering names. This is a great skill to have because, again, if you open a conversation with your name, then chances are the other person is going to give you their name. Now, that's great that they connect and they share and they give you their name. Now you have to remember their name. Okay, and we got 3 different ways that we can do this. First, repeat the name. Hi, I'm Darren. What's your name? Hi, I'm Mark. 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 Okay? You just repeat their name. As soon as you hear their name, you can just repeat it back. Or, nice to meet you, Mark. How are you doing, Mark? Okay? Use their name. Try to use it as soon as they give it to you, okay? It will really help that you have them saying their name and then you are saying their name, okay? And try to use it a couple of times in the conversation. You don't want to overuse it because that just sounds weird, but I would say a couple of times, and at the end as well. We'll come on to ending conversations a bit later, but when you meet someone for the first time, definitely try and use their name a couple of times. It's also good if someone else wants to join the conversation, you can introduce them and say, this is Mark. Okay, so really repeat their name, but not too much. Next one, word association. Okay, so with word association, sorry, slides are jumping around here. Okay, so word association. Let's say, you meet someone and they're called Mark. So Mark in English can also mean a stain or a little like pen. Mark, another word for Mark. A scribble, stain. So imagine that Mark is wearing a white t-shirt and he's got red wine on it. Okay, there's a mark on his t-shirt. Yes, his name's Mark. Okay. This is John Baker. John Baker. Imagine him as a baker. All right. So baker in English means it's the person who bakes the bread. So imagine this person, they're baking the bread. And the more abstract associations you can come up with this, the easier it will be to remember their name. And then there's the Teddy Roosevelt technique. Okay. So Teddy Roosevelt, one of the previous American presidents, and he had this funny technique of trying to imagine that the person had a post-it note stuck on their head with their name. Okay, so when you're talking to them and you're looking at them in the eyes, you are imagining just above their head is a little post-it note with their name on. Okay, try them out, see what works for you. All right, so now we've started a conversation. Okay, but maybe there's a little group of people and they're having a conversation and you want to enter that conversation. So how do we do that? Well, when you're at an event, it's always a good idea to arrive early. If you're one of the last people to arrive, there will be so much happening. Lots of people will be in little groups talking among themselves, and it can be much harder to start those conversations if you're feeling a little bit scared, a bit timid, rather than if you are early and then as someone is coming into the room, you are there to welcome them. Okay? It's a really good way to start the conversation. Sometimes you get a name tag, and it's great to say hello to people at this point. You know, when you're at a place where you're both doing the same activity, okay, getting the name tag or sitting down at the table or going to get a drink, this is a moment, an opportunity that presents itself. You can start a conversation with them, or you can not start a conversation with them and just carry on with what you're doing. The food and drink station. Yeah, mentioned that. It's a good place. A good tip as well is to not interrupt a group of people in the middle of a conversation. Okay, if you see, maybe you recognize someone or someone you'd like to talk to and they're already in conversation, you can wait, take your time. Hopefully they're not going anywhere. And you can slowly get a little bit closer. We don't want to lurk around too much, but wait for the right time when there's a pause, and then you can come in and introduce yourself or ask your question, okay? But it's a good idea to be respectful and wait for the right time. Okay, so we've now started or joined a conversation, and now we want to get out of the conversation. So how do we end the conversation? So we do not want to take up too much of people's time. A good idea at an event or a place is about 10 minutes. Okay, you want to make a nice impression. Don't spend too long. and then move on. Look for some signs. If the person you're talking to is really looking around, their attention is not on you, you're not engaged and talking to each other, they're distracted or they're looking, okay, it's time to move on. It's nothing to take personally. It's just, time to end the conversation. There's no need to feel stuck in the conversation, right? Maybe you're the one that starts looking around the room, okay? And you can move on when you feel it's the right moment or if there's an opportunity. So maybe there's someone you want to speak to or there's something happening and you feel a bit stuck speaking to the person, okay? You can move on. How do we do that? Well, a few good phrases here. It was nice meeting you, okay? Really polite, clear. The other person now understands that you will leave the conversation, okay? It was nice meeting you. You can add their name as well. So we met Mark earlier on. It was nice meeting you, Mark. It was nice meeting you, Mark. It was nice meeting you, Mark. All right? 3 different ways. Just change the intonation there and the tone. And practice this. Practice in front of a mirror. Not just starting a conversation. Hi, I'm Darren. What's your name? Hi, I'm Darren. That's a beautiful shirt you have. Okay? Also exiting, because otherwise, when I was a kid, about 15 years old, I used to really enjoy skateboarding. Now, skateboarding, when you start to do tricks, like jumping up onto a ledge and sliding across and then coming off, there are 3 parts to that trick, right? You have to approach the obstacle and jump up onto it. Now, if you only focus on jumping up onto it, you don't know what to do when you're there. You don't know how to come off. And it's the same thing with a conversation. Really good to practice all these things. So not just how to start, but how to keep the conversation going, right? We talked earlier about the flow, the ping pong ball. Keep that ball going between the 2. And then the landing. You want to make sure that you can take off the plane, fly at altitude, and then come and land smoothly. So now we're looking at landing. Okay, I hope to continue this conversation with you at a later time. Again, the other person will understand. These are great phrases that indicate in a polite and semi-obvious way, you have to go. Conversation is over. You do not need to explain why. Okay? You do not need to lie and to make something up. Just say, it was nice meeting you. I hope to continue this later. Okay? If you want to keep in contact with them, okay, and I would suggest that you only do this if you genuinely had good connection. You think, yeah, I really want to connect with this person again. Get their contact details, okay? Nowadays, business cards might be common or not, depends where you are. Or you could just ask for their socials, right? Do you have Instagram? Do you have Telegram? What's your WhatsApp? Let's keep in touch, right? Again, other person understands that you're probably going now. I'm going to have a walk around. It was a pleasure speaking with you, okay? Here's a little bit different. You're giving a reason as to why you're leaving. But again, it's very polite. I'm sure the other person will understand and you will be able to exit the conversation. Excuse me. I see this person and I would like to ask him a question. Okay. Very easy to understand. You have to go, conversation over, right? This one, a little bit more direct. I would maybe combine a couple of these. It was nice meeting you. Excuse me, I see the speaker. I'd like to ask her a question, right? And even use their name as well. So coming back to Mark. Mark, it was nice meeting you. I now see the speaker and I'd like to ask them a question. I'm going to go check out the snacks. I'll catch up with you later. Okay, so very direct, clear that you have now finished the conversation. And I've had people say all of these to me before. I think that when you're on the receiving end, it feels a little bit disheartening. You think, oh, I was enjoying that conversation, and now they're leaving. Okay, but Sun Tzu, The Art of War, you do not want to be a lingering sun. You come in, shine bright, make your impact, be polite, be respectful, have a great first impression, and then leave. You don't need to hang around too long. What's next? At the end of the event, attempt to say goodbye to everyone you spoke with. Yeah, now this can be difficult if you've spoken to a lot of people, but as I mentioned earlier, try 10 minutes maximum with a person. Should be enough to know if there's a good connection, if there's some synergies, if you can help each other, if you can serve them. And when you leave, just try to reconnect with them one more time, okay? You can interrupt their conversation respectfully. Mark, I'm leaving now. It was nice meeting you. Here are my details. Let's keep in touch. Okay? And again, practice these. Practice each element, the beginning, the middle, and the end, so that you feel more confident and comfortable approaching people and having these conversations. Finally, the golden rule. This is about following up. So you've been to the event, you've met the people, met some interesting people, others you're not sure you want to see again. Okay? This can be critical to develop the relationship. All right? So why would you do this? Why connect with someone who you just saw last night? Well, you want them to keep you in their mind, right? This is a great way to build and maintain relationships and to show appreciation. Okay, if you just met someone for the first time, you've got their details, send them a message. Hey, it was great to meet you last night. Let's catch up at the end of the week, or let's catch up again soon and continue the conversation about what you were talking about. Maintaining relationships, right? For me, I love to show appreciation and say thank you. When I meet someone and maybe, they want to know some information about places to go surfing in the area, I just send them a little message, check out these places, right? And I try and do that within 24 hours, or maybe a recommendation on a restaurant. There's an idea of reciprocity as well in a conversation, okay? I give my name and expect you to give me your name, right? You tell me where you're from, you probably want to know where I'm from. And again, this game going back and forth. So always try and do this within 24 hours. Send a thank you note to the host. Always a great idea. I was brought up in England, and at birthdays, Christmas, anytime I received a gift, my parents used to make me write out a thank you note to the person who sent it to me. Now, as an adult, I just send a little text message, say, hey, thanks for dinner last night. Thanks for the drinks. It was great to catch up. Thanks for hosting. Just a small message. I don't expect it from people when they come to my place, but I like to do that and just show my appreciation for others. So hopefully this has been greatly useful for you. The resources will be available in the links, the PDFs. I will put up some more links over the next few days. A replay of this will be available online. And I'd just like to mention that on the 1st of September, I will be opening up 3 months of English coaching for anyone who is interested in this. It's the first time we've done this. It'll be limited number of students. I think I'm going to aim for about maybe 5 or 10 students to start off. And basically, this is an amazing offer that I have never done before. We're going to have a customized development program based on your level. So I know a lot of people here are B1, B2, and we will make sure that it is relevant, not only for your level, but also for the topics that you are interested in. Okay, and it's going to last for 60 days. So for 2 months, you're going to have tasks of 20 minutes a day. There will be a total of 120 exercises. Myself and 3 other teachers will be involved, so you will have exposure to different accents, male and female. And these are good friends of mine who will be joining to give you the best service that we can do. There will be pronunciation workshops and grammar workshops. So these will be live webinars where you'll have the chance to join us live. We'll be able to go through any specific problems that you have. We'll be able to answer questions, provide some follow-up meetings as well. You will be invited for our Telegram community group, and we really encourage you to connect with other members of the program, find a study buddy, find someone who can help you. Okay, we'll also have teachers there checking in regularly, answering questions, any issues that you have. And at the end, you'll have a certificate. So this is an amazing program that we're starting here for a couple of months, the 1st September. And we thought that the value of this is around 1,200 euros, okay, 1,200 euros. We have a lot of work that we put into this. The value on this is incredible. For 2 months to do some great leveling up of your English, some really fun interactive exercises. The main program will be organized by myself, and then again I mentioned I have 3 other teachers involved to help out with the workshops. But we don't want you to pay this much, right? We think that this is a fair value for this program, but we're offering it for just $399. Okay, so 2 months of 20 minutes a day, 120 exercises, okay, plus the workshops, plus the groups. Fantastic offer at just 399 euros. Okay, we also offer a 5-day free trial of this, and there's a 100% money back guarantee. Okay, if after those 5 days you decide that this program is not for you, you're not getting out of it what you thought, you're not enjoying it for any reason, then we will fully refund you with all of your money back. Okay. So again, I just want to say a big thank you. It's been a pleasure working with you today for this workshop about how to start a conversation with anyone. If you have any questions, please do let me know in the comments or send me an email. And again, enrollment is opening soon, I think at the end of this week, for our program starting the 1st September. And I look forward to reconnecting with you all in the future, and good luck in starting your conversations. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. My name is Darren Jones, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.